What's up, guys? This is Josh Brown from Stanley Pentecostal Holiness Church. I want to welcome you to the Youth Leader University. We're going to be talking about event planning and fundraising. One of the big things with event planning when it comes to talking with our parents, and especially as youth pastors, is money, money, money. And the biggest thing when it comes to event planning is plan. You can never give your parents the information that they need for an event far enough out. Because we live in a time that parents and teenagers have so much going on, and we have to be mindful of that. I plan most of my events a year or 18 months in advance, and I try to make sure that I know what I'm doing, the cost that my parents are looking at. Number one, because I have to prepare my budget. Many of you may not have a budget. The church may not give you any funds, and I want to challenge you. Number one, that you go to your pastor, you go to some of your board members and say, hey, it may not be just a few $100 a year. But we need to begin to put some money behind our teenagers and what they're doing in our ministry so that they can see that our church is investing in them. But plan. Think about your parents. Some of you may have parents that have 2 or 3 kids. And whatever the cost of your event is, if it's $20 to go out to eat, it becomes $40 for a parent that has 2 or $60 for a parent that has 3. And so plan. Think about the cost. Think about how many big events you do throughout the year. How many events can you do? Many of our teenagers, they just want to be together. So what could you do with just a bag of chips and some drinks at your house? Think about those things and don't over-plan. Think about maybe just doing 1 or 2 events a month. Think about the big events that you want to do, and don't just do events to do events. Make sure you've got a purpose behind the event that you're doing. What is the purpose of it? Is it fellowship? Just getting your teenagers together? Are you trying to reach out to kids? And make that your purpose. Budget. How much money are you planning to spend on this event? Are you going to let the teenagers absorb all of that and make them pick up the cost of all of that? How do you take care of your chaperones? There's a lot of things you need to consider when you're planning an event, when you're planning to take teenagers to an event somewhere, and a lot of hidden costs. If you don't have a budget, then your teenagers and your chaperones have to pick up all of their expenses. But you need to make sure that as you plan, that your parents know far enough in advance that they don't just have a month to say, hey, I've got to pay $120 and have it in 2 weeks. Because some of your parents live paycheck to paycheck. That doesn't work for them. And if you want the maximum number of teenagers coming to your event, you've got to plan. Let your teenagers know what you've got going on. I do a vision banquet at the beginning of the year and tell my parents absolutely everything we have going on for the year and what we have going on at the end of the year, the beginning of the year, what we plan to do, everything from our small groups up to our large events that we plan to attend. Let your parents have some input. Give them some options. Some events are out of the price range, and you'll have kids stay at home, and when you could be taking teenagers to a different event, one of the things that I do is every single one of my students have an account. We have our own little checking account, and if we do a fundraising, whether it's a car wash, a hot dog sale, a meal on Sunday mornings after our worship service, if we do a special event that brings in money, all of my teenagers participate in that. If they don't participate in that, then they don't get money for that event. But you take the money, after you've taken out all of your expenses for buying supplies and that type thing, you take your profit and you divide that among the number of teenagers that you have. For example, on Sunday mornings, we do a Sunday afternoon lunch. Kids have to come help set up, they serve, they tear down for the event. And so each kid can get up to 3 checks. I take the entire profit for that event, and I divide it among the number of checks I have. If a kid comes, let's say we have 30 kids come, and each check is worth $10. If a teenager just comes and helps serve, they get $10. If they come help set up, tear down, and serve, they make $30. But don't let teenagers that don't do anything, don't just put money in their pocket. Another great opportunity, a lot of places are doing this. Applebee's, Fats Cafes, those type restaurants are doing breakfast on Saturday morning that'll pour back into the community, into local community groups. Your youth group is one of those groups that they will make that an opportunity for you to come and to raise money for an event. Our students, when the time comes up, they can say, hey, I want to take this much money out of my account, and I want to pay this rest. Pay the rest of it. Parents can put money into their kids' account. I have slips, deposit slips. They can say, hey, I want to put $10 into my kid's account. That way, if we've got an event coming up and there's a $300 budget or there's a $300 registration fee for that event, the parents don't have to come out with $300. They can say, well, hey, take it out of their account, and they've been putting $10, $15 in the kids' account for two or 3 months. It doesn't make it as expensive for them all at one time. The second thing is I have scholarship money. We have a cafe in our youth center that brings in just a little bit of money on Wednesday nights, but after a period of time it builds up, and I scholarship kids on how they can, it helps them get to events, and it gives them money that once their parents pay, that money will kick in and help them get to the event that they may not get to. Another resource that you have are the people in your church. We all have people in our church, older couples that don't have kids, that don't have grandkids, and they are more than willing to sponsor a teenager. Go find those people and say, I've got a teenager that wants to go to this event. God's working in their life, but they just are a little bit short on their money. And if you ask, those people will step up and give the money where the money's needed. Be creative in your fundraising, but most of all, plan ahead when it comes to those things so you can have the maximum number of teenagers go on those events with you.